Shad Tidler, welcome to Vision Pros Live. Tell me about your vision.
Okay. Jackson, my vision, it's helping 100,000 people in my lifetime. And now how did I even get to that? I really started out as thinking I was going to be an engineer early in life. And obviously you can see that worked out. Now I'm a consultant helping people, sales and grow businesses and lead. But the longer I was in, that line of like work in college, I just went, it's not for me. I don't think it's really helping and interacting the way I want to with people. So from there, I just kind of happenstance got into the sales side in the logistics world. And then that took me on a move here back to Indiana, where I'm originally from. And when I got back here, I was in the industry for a couple more years, and I went, it's just not the right fit. Like there's something missing, right? And the more I sat down and thought about it, I thought about, well, what are things missing? It's like I really enjoy coaching people. I really enjoy helping them learn and develop, and I really enjoy helping them not just from a business side, but from a personal side. And so as I really sat down and thought about this in early 2014, I said, well, I'm ready to do something different, but I didn't know what it was. And I lucked out. I was here at Lushin as a client, getting some just individual help on getting more effective selling, things like that. And I just mentioned it to one of the owners here, who's my coach, Aaron, and he said, well, why don't you just come work for us and do that? And and if you ever met him, he's very joking in his personality. So I was like, well, whatever. You're just kind of throwing out whatever. And then it's like one of those people, he's got a joking personality, but he's serious also. And sometimes the lines get a little blurred, right, on which one it is. And so I just couldn't stop thinking about the whole rest of the day and the whole rest of the night and the next morning. So I called him and said, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, we've already been talking, him and the other partners. And so I went, okay, let's talk. And that was 12 years ago. And when you first get into something, you're like, okay, I know I want to help, but I don't know what that vision is. And the longer I was in it, I went, let me just pick a number and start working towards something. And that number for me, for some reason, was 100,000. I went, okay, let me start to that's the number I'm going to go after. And the more I started doing it, and to your point, as we were kind of talking leading up to this earlier, I just started focusing on helping more. It became less about, yes, I'm helping companies and people sell more and grow their business and that. But really, end of the day, you're helping them personally get to what's important to them. And even I was talking about that earlier today. I was helping a client of mine with some strategy and goal stuff. And we talked a lot about, well, why is it even important to get to these things and this, and what does it do for you? And that's really where the vision started to come to fruition and go, okay, 100,000 is going to be my number. But if I think in my tracking, I'm about 50,000 right now. I updated actually on monthly.
Man.
I think
through it.
Well, yeah, I think about shows, like if I'm on a podcast or I'm doing a webinar on Thursday for a group, that'll be 100 and some people, and then clients and their people throughout the month. And so I went, okay, I got to have some way to track. So I just went once a month. I'm just going to go based on what happened this month, who I was, where I was at, where I was on, boom, here, is my number and tracking over time. So, I'm half the way there, but, I see this going beyond, way beyond.
Oh, it's going to go way beyond.
Yeah.
This can go way beyond. And I love what you represent, Shad. This is huge. So visionaries, it's not about the numbers. I can see it in Shad's eyes.
Yeah.
It's about the individuals that happen to be impacted through this process.
Right.
And it's a very important reality to set these types of, it's called vision painting in some regards. I've heard coaches call it that. I love that term. It's also, vision boards also have a lot to do this. I remember I was visiting my business partner a long time ago on Miami Beach, and I took a picture of myself, a selfie back before selfies were cool. And I brought it back to his condominium, and him and his wife and he goes, oh my gosh. And he dug into an old box, and he pulls out his vision board from 20 years it's probably 10 years previous to that. And the photo he had on his vision board was the exact same photo that I took as a selfie, same angle and everything in Miami Beach. And he's like, I totally forgot about this. It's like, this was on my vision board that we would live here. And sure enough, he lived in the frame of that photo by then. And so there's so much value in looking at this. And again, Shad's process, I was going to ask you, I wasn't going to put you on the spot this time, but I was going to ask you in the future, how do you quantify the 100,000? and we have different views on what that looks like. That's not a bad thing. It just
Mm-hmm.
means that we happen to hit different metrics in different ways. So I saw Steve Jobs' movie. I think it's called Jobs. I think that was the one where he said, I've seen two of them. But he says, we're going to make a dent in the universe. And I got kind of sad for Steve Jobs. And I was like, wow, I do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that all of us do that every day. Every time we choose to be kind to somebody, right? There's a ripple effect that we can't possibly see the infinite impacts of what occurs by doing those little acts of kindness. But I also have a good atheist friend who a long time ago said, Jackson, the thing I struggle with Christians is that, especially the ones who believe they're saved, they don't feel like they have to do anything anymore, and they minimize their life. Whereas I give every day of my life to make this world a better place. And I was like, that's pretty cool. It's like philanthropic atheism. And so there's all sorts of opportunities that exist in life to lift others up and to do good. So I love what you're up to, Shad. I know I interrupted for a long time, but I want to honor the reality of all that you talked about. And then you've got this 12-year plus relationship with, what was the name again? Aaron?
Aaron, it's actually 15 years. He was 3 years coaching me, and then 12 years working here. And
oh my gosh, that longevity, visionary, is like, it's something that I think that this world is falling a little bit further and further away from because of swipe right, swipe left. Right? It's like let's just get rid of the relationships rather than build and construct them. And so again, I love that too. I saw a word on your website that called my attention. We might fight a little bit. All right. We're going to rest a little bit, but one of my favorite, if not my favorite secular book of all time is You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar by a man named David Sandler.
Right.
And I've been trained by Sandler coaches and they're okay. And I've met many who suck. And so I'm bringing this up with all of my heatedness of like, gosh dang it, what the heck happened to the incident? I'm sorry, Institute. I don't mean to let's fix it though, because Sandler is a legend and he opened our eyes to so many things. His number one to the chapter is the best chapter ever, your R versus your I. So did I just pull out of left field, or are you aligned with the whole Sandler principles and concept? And
so
tell me about that.
Yeah, we're a franchise. So we have the base principles and things, but then we built a lot off of it.
Just kidding.
And I'm going to tell you, I got sales training from other resources right here. You're absolutely right. There's a varying level. I'm not going to sit here and go, there isn't.
I'm just hoping I found the best one finally. I'm feeling like I'm getting close. So I'm like, we need to restore that thing, man.
I mean, the big thing is, like we always tell people when we work with them, I go, first is, do we help you identify and go, here's things you need to work on and you believe we can help. And then is it a right fit from a culture, right? Like there's, like I mentioned, Aaron in our organization, he's really good with folks who like their businesses around like farm machinery and equipment and things like that. That's his personality jives with them, right? Mine jives with a different group, right? And it's just background experience. So I think that's a big piece. Like people, yes, is the content helpful? And can the trainer or coach or consultant, can they change it or evolve it in a way that it makes sense in your world, right? That's a big piece of it. But the other piece is the personality, the fit, right? There's certain clients and people that work with people, other people here, even in our company, that I was like, I would never be the right fit for them, but they are, and vice versa.
Right. Who do you jive with, Shad, on your side?
For me, it's people who the continuous improvement. It's I'm not going to just rest because we got here. That's a big thing for me. People who have had they have had some sort of big challenge in their life or big challenging, and they can use that and it helps them through a business side. So I'm a big follower of the Stoic philosophy. And I've picked that up over the years because it just makes a lot of sense after listening and reading books by Marcus Aurelius and then like Ryan Holiday's The Modern Interpretation of it. But it just makes sense. And so I look for people who are like that. It's like in the chaos of day-to-day, Jackson, they go, okay, all right, things are crazy. I'm not going to ignore it and say they aren't, but here's what I can control. Here's what I can't. And what am I going to do about it? Right. That responsibility. I jive well with people like that.
I love that.
I come from like a very, like I said, my original start was engineering and logistics. So those worlds make sense to me in similar type businesses. I do a lot of working out and I've done triathlons and things over time. So people who have a similar mindset of taking care of their body, we jive really well in that sense. So, it's a lot of similarities to my personality and like kind of how I look at things. Clients that are similar in that way helps with us being able to, work together and kind of get each other.
Dude, you got my happiness levels going up. I tend to bring this up to other franchisees of Sandler. Again, guys, I'm a huge fanatic of Sandler and what David Sandler was able to unlock in that one little book. I learned so much from that. But the sad truth is the most of those franchisees that I met, they crumbled under the pressure of this conversation, even though it wasn't a live podcast. Like they just couldn't handle the pressure of like, oh, I have to admit that, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing very well financially. And it's like, well, I can see that. And that's not necessarily that's definitely not the measure of a man. That's definitely not the measure of success in and of itself, but the reaction to it, like that can be, when somebody caves and feels like they have to be kind of dishonest or hide from the truth of the reality. And if you're not following up and you're not following through, and you're not representing your brand well, like that, those things are realities that all visionaries, all of us we have to learn how to overcome that. And so some of the books Shad is talking about, these are books that I'm like, oh, cool. I need to piggyback my relationship with Shad because they're the books that I'm so happy people quote to me that I haven't quite read yet. I'm like, yeah, I need to dive into those because there's always gold that comes out of Marcus Aurelius. And of course, studying Socrates, studying Plato, I've tended to drift towards, well, one, I'm a big fan of the Bible, and reading that over and over. But James Allen, from the 1800s, and Peter Drucker from the 1900s, and Patrick Lencioni. There's so many elements, and oh gosh, the modern Stoic, Tim Ferriss gets a lot of credit, for leading in that space in the modern world as well. And so I did read his 4-hour work week, at least 4 hours worth of it. But he's a great leader.
He writes really long. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but man, like
That's
some
really
of his podcasts and stuff, they are long. Yeah.
Yeah. And so those are all great opportunities to lean in. And AI is teaching me new ways of reading, as are audiobooks that make me feel like I'm kind of falling out of touch with traditionalism a little bit. And that's we got to walk a fine line on that, my visionary friends. But Shad, if this, one, I'd love to bring you back, and I hope you're willing to come back because I know you've got depth that most people don't with that one relationship example. But before we go today, if this happens to be our last interaction ever, what counsel or wisdom do you have for other visionary leaders out there?
Oh God, that's a really great question, Jackson. I'm just thinking through the values and the things in my life is, and it goes back to what we said on my website. You mentioned it before, is be the change you want to see. Great visionaries, great leaders, they look at themselves first and go, you just said a couple minutes ago, am I showing up in the way that I talk to other people or try to help other people with? And that's why I love that quote by Gandhi. It's on my page, our website. And it's really, I got the wonderful experience to live in India for a year and see real life, like where he was, but I also read his autobiography as part of that. I truly, it's truly something I believe is like, I first look at myself, if I happen to be complaining about something, I know it's Stoic philosophy, you're not supposed to complain, but they were real people. They do. And they did. But if I happen to, the next question in my head is, what can I do about it? What am I going to do about it? Right. And that's be the change you want to see. And it's I don't know did you ever hear the classic story about Gandhi with the little child with candy? Have you ever?
No, please tell us.
Okay. So, when Gandhi was around, like people would line up for days to go see him and get his counsel. And so I believe he was I want to say it was in Delhi. And this lady, a little child who was like 5 or 6. And so she went to take her child to see Gandhi to get counsel because her child had a really big problem with eating candy all the time. He was having teeth issues, gaining weight, all these things. And so she stands in line for like 2 days to see him and finally gets up to see him. And the little child's kind of hiding in her sari. And she comes to, and she says, Mahatma, which was the way to address him. And she said, Mahatma, I need your help. And he goes, well, my child, what can I help with? And she says, my child here, my son, he won't stop eating candy. I need your help to help him with this. And so, Gandhi said, please send the child here. And so the child walks over, and Gandhi kind of looks at him, and then he whispers something in his ear. And then he sends the child back to the mother, and he says, come back in 2 weeks. And she's like, well, is he cured? Is he taken care of? And he goes, come back in 2 weeks. And she's like, okay. So she comes back in 2 weeks, same thing, waits in line for like 2 days, gets back up to him. Mahatma, do you remember me? I'm the mother who had the child who won't stop eating candy. He's still eating candy. So Mahatma goes, please send him over. So she sends him over, and he looks at the child and points and goes, stop eating candy. And the mother's like, wait a minute, I waited 2 weeks and stood in line for 2 days for that. And he goes, when your child was here 2 weeks ago, I couldn't give him counsel on eating candy because I was eating candy. So therefore, I had to break myself of the habit in order to be able to help him. And I always think that, and it's that story of, am I going to complain about something or tell other people, or am I living that principle myself to be able to help others?
Ooh, that's amazing, my friends.
Love that story.
What we unlocked from that story is 2 opportunities. Guys, y'all know that I do these little segments at the end about the powerful truth, and they're typically short. They're typically fortune cookies, as we call them. But this is about the power and principle of letting go of time and being present. That's what this is about, being present. What Shad just talked about is something that I hope all of you unlock as we have an opportunity to really, I want to be careful with the word clone, but we get to clone our abilities to project goodness into the world with the power of AI. And all of us are in this process right now. Not all of us, but a lot of us are training AIs in order to represent us. And so us being the change, but also creating that change with that authority that we have. And we're about to be able to scale ourselves in ways that we never have been able to before. And I hope that when others interact with what my tools create, what I create with AI, etc., that AI becomes as close to a representation of the man that I hope to become as it possibly can be. And that will have a massive effect on y'all's abilities as visionaries to be able to create and generate your reputations, your authority, your ability to bless hundreds of thousands of people and beyond, whatever it is that you're doing with your visions. Tomorrow, I think, is the day, and maybe the day after. We're in the middle of the soft launch. AI.firstclassbusiness.io is coming out. Well, this is coming out in 6 weeks, so we'll be just fine for this. But the AI marketplace, and Shad, the reason why I'm bringing that up on this episode is because you mentioned India. And what we live for, my vision is to bridge the economic gap between North America, South America, and rest of the world. That's why I live in Ecuador right now, is to help do just that. And I've got some former team members in India that I love, and Pakistan and the Philippines as well, who've all helped with this process. But people will notice when you guys go to ai.firstclassbusiness.io, we'll have the founding members at $50 a month and $500 for lifetime access. But we also have right below that a button that says, if you can't afford this right now, apply for the grant. Apply for the grant, get access for free, and get in there. We want to empower as many people as possible to be able to use AI the right way. And how do you do that? By leaning into being your best self. And Shad's being a phenomenal example of that. So Shad, thanks for coming on the show. I'll coordinate with you so we can get you to come back. And Vision Pros, if you want to be a guest on the show, you don't have to be a world-class coach. You don't have to be out there helping 100,000 people plus, and already halfway there. You can be at the beginning stages of your vision. We'd be happy to host you. And we'll see you guys all in the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.